Greetings and welcome to the 2023 LSU AgCenter Hammond Research Station Virtual Horticulture Field Day. My name is Jeb Fields and it is my honor to welcome you here to the event. This past year we've seen quite a few changes at the research station, the primary one being our gardens themselves. We spent this last fall and winter revamping and renewing all the gardens so we could have the best gardens we need for this year. Also, our landscaping is under construction and changing. In Louisiana and really anywhere in the Gulf South, plants grow really fast and more than they typically do. So every 10-15 years or so, it's a best practice to actually reset a lot of your foundational plants, and that's what we're doing at the station with our landscape right now. We've also got new interns, new students, new research, but a lot of your old favorites are here as well. Primarily the gardens, Louisiana Super Plants, the Plants with Potential program, and all the other things you've come to know and love from the Hammond Research Station. So with that, you can sit back, relax, and hope you enjoy this 2023 LSU AgCenter Hammond Research Station Virtual Horticulture Field Day.
Hey, how you doing? My name is Christopher Cristione. I'm a PhD student studying under Dr. Jeb Fields. I'm excited to discuss with you today my doctoral research, where we are studying root growth in morphology in soilless substrates. Now, in horticultural research, there's typically a focus on shoot growth and development, such as flowers or foliage. However, the integrity and the health of the root system is just as important. What you see behind me is a series of root boxes or riser boxes where we have an acrylic plate and we install our soilless substrates inside, and this allows us to observe the root growth in time and space. The reason why these root boxes have acrylic on the outside is it allows us to trace the roots over time, and we can make measurements such as root morphology or root architecture. These root boxes also have the same volume as our traditional nursery 2-gallon container. And this enables us to make direct comparisons between the roots growing in the root box and the roots growing in the containers. So what you see over here is our root tracing station. The substrates that we are exploring is our traditional nursery bark-based substrate and our traditional greenhouse peat-based substrate. This study is also a continuation from my master's work, where we are stratifying our soilless substrates. We layer different medias on top of one another. What we've observed in previous research is that stratified substrates enhance and augment root growth. Thank you all very much for watching this video. I'm excited to share with you the future results. Stay tuned and see you all at Field Day.
So I'm here with Research Associate Ashley Hickman and our LNLA summer intern Kendall May, and we're going to talk to you about the runoff pad research. So last year, Ashley actually built this runoff pad for her master's research that collects the leachate from all these containers, channels it down the row, and then we can sample this to look at fertilizer efficiency over time. And we use this to look at how substrate temperature affected the release of different fertilizers. What you can see here pretty clearly is that there's white pots and black pots, and this is part of the research project to look at how pot color influences substrate temperature. And what Ashley found last year is that we could use irrigation techniques and pot color to really lower that overall substrate temperature and help extend our fertilizer a bit. This year, Kendall's actually taking on the second rendition of this project. So we kept the white pots and black pots to continue exploring the pot color and how that changes substrate temperature. But beyond that, now we have another treatment of stratified or non-stratified. If you've listened to any of our work out here, you understand stratified substrates are layering different substrates in a container to affect moisture balance. And the reason we think that'll help with the temperature dynamics is that the water content in the container really affects how quickly it'll heat up and how quickly it'll cool down, and that energy transfer. So if we can use stratification to change that water balance in the container, we can expect it to actually give us better control of our temperatures and hopefully better control of our fertilizer long term.
Hey folks, Damon Abdi here with the Hammond Research Station, and I wanted to show you a research project that we just planted this spring. So a lot of folks around the state are always asking, what's the best way to plant plants? Well, when you pop it out of the container, sometimes you see some of those roots circled around. Now everybody's got their own little way of doing it, breaking it up by hand, slicing it with a knife. Some people just put that plant right into the ground. So with this study right here, that's exactly what we did. We compared not manipulating the roots with manipulating roots in several of the most common ways that we hear from our public and from our landscape contractors. What we're going to do is evaluate the growth of these plants over several growing seasons, looking at size, looking at the caliper of these stems. And after a couple years elapse, we're going to dig up some of these plants and look at how these roots grow into the soil. Stay tuned to see how these plants continue to grow. At the Hammond Research Station Gardens, we work to make sure that the gardens are accessible for everybody. One of the initiatives we took to do that is by building more inclusive signs. Signs such as this have Braille text available to some of our friends that have visual challenges. We also keep this modernized and up to date by having rotating pictures showing plants as they're in bloom throughout different points of the year. We give descriptions for each of these plants so that way people can have a better understanding about what they're seeing out here at the station.
Hi, I'm Jason Stagg here at the Hammond Research Station, and this is going to be a great tour of our sun garden and a little bit in our shade garden for our 2023 virtual field day. Right now I'm standing in the sun garden where we trial at least 200 new varieties of plants a year, plus countless other plants that we keep on display. Now here in the sun garden, we're actually giving these plants full sun conditions. So this is going to be some of the most brutal conditions you can trial bedding plants, perennials, and some shrubs in. But that's what we're here to do. We trial plants for the new breeding companies and for marketing companies around the country so that we can tell them what grows well here. But we're also doing this for our landscape industry and home gardeners in Louisiana so that they know what to choose when they're specking out a job, let's say for a commercial building, or buying new plants for their home. So what we're going to do is take a quick tour here, and then we're also going to head over to the shade garden a little bit later. 2023, like many of the last few years, has been kind of exceptional in the wild weather swings. So one thing that happened besides the hard freeze in December of 2022, right around Christmas, was this late freeze that we had in March of 2023 this year. And a lot of the plants had already started emerging from dormancy, but what happened was that freeze hit them back so hard that we've delayed some blooming on things. We've actually had some dieback on some things. And normally this time of year, about a month before our field day, I wouldn't be able to show you crepe myrtles in actual full glory and full bloom. But this one is putting on a great show right now, and this is called My Fair Myrtle. This is a fairly new crepe myrtle, a few years old, an introduction from Star Roses and Plants. And look at this fantastic color that we have on this. It is a green leaf crepe myrtle. It's designed to be more shrub-like. It's very dense, as you can see. So it's supposed to top out about 4 or 5 feet tall and 4 or 5 feet wide. We're already above that here in Louisiana, but I think it's a great selection. Now, size has become quite a variable aspect of crepe myrtles these days. One thing that's going on is the breeders are pushing crepe myrtles to try to get them to survive in zone 6. And a lot of times that creates a shorter crepe myrtle, but also some people are requesting in the market that crepe myrtles act more like a small shrub. And this is Bellini guava, and you can see this has been here for a few years, at least 3 years, and you can see how small this crepe myrtle is. It makes a really cute summer blooming shrub for a hedge or for even like the middle space of the bed. This is another crepe myrtle in the Bellini series. This one is called Raspberry, and you can see it's got a much brighter red color than the guava one we saw just a second ago. And look at the size difference. So even though you have a series of shrub type crepe myrtles, you will have a good choice of size variability within that particular series. This is a series of crepe myrtles from Proven Winners called Center Stage. Now in front of me is this gorgeous red color, and behind me is coral. And this group of crepe myrtles really is known for its beautiful dark foliage. Now this is supposed to be a medium-sized grower getting a lot taller, but for us they've been acting more like a shrub. But it's nice to have this dark colored foliage on such a small plant with these really large standard-sized blooms. Here's another interesting plant from Proven Winners. This is called Fothergilla Legend of the Small. Now, a lot of times in heavier soils, I find that the Fothergilla plants don't do that well. This one has been a fantastic performer for us, though. You can see how bushy and tight and full it is. And when it blooms in the spring, it has an incredible fragrance that'll perfume the air. I wanted to show you a couple of other shrubs here in our Proven Winners collection. Now, right in front of me is a beautiful Rose of Sharon or Althea, and this is called Parapluie Violet. It seems to be fairly short right now, but it's got lots of blooms on it. It's been in the ground for a couple of years. And in the foreground here, this beautiful burgundy foliage is a berberis or barberry, and this one's called Mini Maroon. Now, most of these don't do well here in the south, but this one has performed extremely well, and it stayed very full and bushy and compact.
So this is a plant we've had here in the gardens for a few years now, and this is Orange Rocket Barberry from Southern Living Plant Collections. Now typically barberries don't do too well for us in deep south southern Louisiana, but this one actually is doing fantastic. You can see it's getting real big. It's got this amazing purplish maroon color, although it's called Orange Rocket. And it has very bright red new growth. We really love it. Now barberry, be careful, it's very sharp. There's thorns all over it, so it's really good to put it around as a security plant like people use roses. But one of our favorites out here at the Hammond Research Station, it's getting pretty tall, and we look forward to see how big it grows. So if you've seen me talk for the last couple years, you know I'm absolutely in love with this Peach Perfection Abelia by Star Roses and Plants. It's got excellent foliage color, excellent flower color. The pollinators love it, and even the spent blooms are fantastic. But it does get pretty big. Today I want to show you another Abelia out of the same series. This is Apple Perfection. It's a little more compact than the Peach Perfection. You get these really nice white flowers against this deep green foliage, which really makes it pop. Another one of my favorite plants at the Hammond Research Station that's not too popular in the trade is Big Mama's Turk's Cap. This is in the Malvaceae family, so it's related to a hibiscus. As you can see that the flowers actually look like hibiscus flowers that haven't fully opened. It's a really quick growing plant, does well in some shade or full sun, handles the heat of Louisiana, handles the wet and the dry pretty well. But what the best part about it is an absolute hummingbird magnet. We have hummingbirds that come and visit this plant and these set of plants all the time throughout the summer, which is really a delight to look at.
Here we got Shoal Creek Vitex. Shoal Creek Vitex is a shrub tree that grows to a pretty decent size, offering some of that form to the landscape. One thing that really sticks out is that late spring summer blooms that occur. You've got that nice purplish blue hue that not only does it draw your eyes to it, it's very fragrant, so it's going to draw your nose to it as well. And all the pollinators love this. So when you're looking for a nice tree that's going to offer some of this color and really make it pop out in the landscape, consider Shoal Creek Vitex. Folks, so we all know how much we love sweet potatoes here in Louisiana, and we've got several ornamental sweet potatoes that really stick out in the landscape. So when we look at some of the growing high up sweet potatoes, we're thinking about some of these Sweet Caroline upsides. Here we have key lime. We've also got a dark foliage sweet potato upside that's called black coffee. So you get this nice lime green color, or you get that rich dark color of the other ones there. We've also got some sweet potatoes that grow over on the ground. So the Red Hawk is a very, very nice foliage that sticks out in the landscape as well. So with these Sweet Caroline sweet potatoes, good times never felt so good.
Hi, I'm Ashley and I'm a research associate here at the Hammond Research Station. The first plant I'm going to talk to you about today is called Grandpa's Pumpkin Patch Lantana. What we like about it is that the colors are a nice blend of dark orange and yellow, providing pollinator attraction. Butterflies love this plant, and perennial hardiness. This plant is called Nectar-Wine Red Porterweed. It's an annual that has showy flowers that are highly attractive to hummingbirds. When planted in full sun, as it is here, it'll reach a height and spread of about 3 feet.
I'm Maureen Thiessen, and I'm a research associate here at the Hammond Research Station, and this is Cinnamon Girl Distilium. Cinnamon Girl Distilium was chosen as the super plant selection for the fall of 2023. Now, while distiliums may not be as well known as hollies or boxwoods, they are great evergreen companion plants for hedges, for foundation plantings, or anywhere greenery is desired. Cinnamon Girl was chosen because of its crimson-colored new growth that later turns bluish-green. This distilium has a really clean look and is low maintenance and can be planted in just about any soil or sun condition. Swift roses were chosen as a Louisiana superplant way back in 2013, and they are still prized for their abundant blooms and reliability. This plant is neat and compact in form, and it's just covered in blooms from spring until fall. Hardly any disease issues bother this plant, which is available in many different colors, such as pink, peach, apricot, red, and even whitish yellow.
Here we have Mojave yellow purslane from Proven Winners. It's a succulent type plant that is very heat, humidity, and drought tolerant, and it is nearly impossible to walk by this plant and not see pollinator activity all over these open flowers, which is one of the reasons why it's my absolute favorite plant in the sun garden. Cupcake Upright Lavender Portulaca is an introduction from Doom and Orange. It's new this year. It's got a compact habit with large bright flowers. It's a series of Portulaca that when mixed with other colors in the series look fantastic either in the landscape or in a containerized system or hanging basket. Serena Angelonia was deemed a Louisiana superplant in 2020. It's sometimes referred to as summer snapdragon. We use Serena Angelonia as a warm season color bedding or container plant. It is a very reliable performer in all areas of Louisiana as it's tolerable to heat, humidity, and drought with long-lasting colorful blooms all summer long.
This year from Doom and Orange, we received a new series of Coleus, which I'm really liking. It looks like to me they might be a competitor to the Flamethrower series from Ball, but these are called the Downtown series, which matches with their Main Street series. These have a nice thin leaf. They're very serrated on the edge, kind of looking like a flame. And there's 5 so far in the series. This is Greenville, NYC Lights with this beautiful dark foliage, Miami Magic, which is a great color combination but is already starting to flower a little bit early in the season, Columbus, and Vegas Neon with a great color combination of pink and green. From Proven Winners this year, we received this new Coleus called Color Blaze Chocolate Drop. It looks like it's going to be a smaller grower that would be used as maybe a ground cover or in a container. This is new from Ball Flora Plant this year. This is Coleus Solar Flare, and it's got a really nice bright color underneath the leaf, and look at this really interesting undulating leaf margin. Over the past few years, we've received a lot of Scaevola cultivars from a number of different breeding companies. These are from Doom and Orange, and they're called the Scala series. There's a beautiful purplish blue called Bluebird. We also have a really bright pink color called Pinkbird. And finally, a very bright white color called White Dove. And they're performing really well in the heat. We just saw some new Scaevola from Doom and Orange, and we've also received these from Proven Winners. This is the Whirlwind series. They look like they're going to be a little smaller and tighter. 3 colors so far. We've got white, pink, and blue. Pan American Seed, a Ball company, sent us 3 new Kufias this year, which I'm really loving. This is the Sweet Talk series. The first is Sweet Talk Deep Pink. The next one that we'll look at is Sweet Talk Lavender Splash, and finally Sweet Talk Red. What I love about these are the bat face-like bloom, but on a plant that seems to be able to take our humidity and rainfall much better than your typical bat face Kufias.
Echinacea Double Scoops is from Darwin Perennials, and it looks great in the gardens right now. The eye-catching flowers come in several colors, from reds, oranges, yellows, and pinks. It's a first-year blooming echinacea and is great for those who like the immediate gratification. Deadheading is said to help encourage further blooming, and we can't wait to see how these perform through the rest of this summer. For last summer's super plant, we featured the Summer of Salvias, which included many varieties, such as White Flame and Skyscraper Orange. White Flame again looks fantastic in the garden this year, returning reliably after winter, and also attracting many pollinators. Another great performing salvia are the Duelberg salvias. Augusta Duelberg is white and Henry Duelberg is blue. They are very vigorous, shrubby salvias that bloom profusely and take our heat well. The butterfly pentas are one of our earliest selections of super plants, and they are still some of our favorites. They typically reach 12 to 18 inches and stand a bit taller than our later super plant selection, the Lucky Star pentas. The butterfly series comes in many colors, ranging from deep rose to pink to white, and they bloom all summer long and are great for attracting bees and butterflies. The Serenita Angelonia, specifically the raspberry cultivar, was chosen as Louisiana superplant back in 2016, 5 years after the Serena series of Angelonia was named a Louisiana superplant in 2011. It has intense pinkish lavender flowers and blooms all summer long. Though they are close to the same height in our gardens now, you can see the Serena cultivar in the background, the Serenita Angelonia typically reaches about 6 inches shorter than the Serena, topping out from 10 to 16 inches. The Luna hibiscus were chosen as a Louisiana superplant back in 2014 and are known for their brightly colored, prolific flowers that can reach 8 inches across. It's a hardy hibiscus and often returns each spring from the roots if the winters are not too harsh. Available colors include white, pink, pink swirl, and pictured here is red. Another one of our earliest Louisiana superplant selections, the Senorita Rosalita Cleome, is a reliable top performer. Its tall spikes topped with bright pink firework-like flower clusters brightens any landscape. It blooms from early spring until first frost, and it's a tall cleome, sometimes reaching 3 to 4 feet tall, so plant it accordingly. Evolvulus, also known commonly as Blue Days, was chosen as the summer 2023 Louisiana superplant and has been one of our favorite top performers in the garden. This cultivar is called Blew My Mind, and it has held up very well in our Louisiana heat year after year. The bright blue flowers open in the morning and usually close in the afternoon. It has a sprawling habit and serves well as a ground cover or wherever you want a splash of blue. Our other summer 2023 Louisiana superplant selection is the Suncredible Saturn sunflower. The Suncredible line isn't new to the superplant program, as yellow was featured in 2021. Saturn performs just as well as yellow and has slightly smaller flowers that feature a dark reddish-orange halo at the center of the flower that eventually fades to yellow. These continuously blooming sunflowers make great bedding plants, and since they stand at 2 to 3 feet tall, do well in the background or middle of the bed. The Peggy Martin Rose is our spring 2023 superplant selection. Many people are familiar with the story of this rose, which survived being submerged under salt water for 2 weeks during Hurricane Katrina. Though we just recently planted this specimen in our gardens, the Peggy Martin Rose is a hardy climber and a vigorous grower, perfect for trellises and archways. Peggy Martin is also a vigorous bloomer and has showy clusters of 2 to 3 inch deep pink flowers. This rose is cold hardy and has very few disease or insect problems, so it is perfect for any home.
Salvias are a popular plant because of their benefits to pollinators. And we have a number of salvias here at the Hammond Research Station that survive year to year, so I wanted to feature those really quickly. So this dark purple one is called Bodacious Rhythm and Blues, and it's a Salvia granitica, great perennial. Then we've got this lighter blue color, which is Rebel Child, a Salvia farinaceae, also a great perennial. And then we have an extremely bright blue called Blue Ensign. This is a Salvia granitica as well. It tends to spread slowly, but because of that good perennial root structure, it comes back every year. A lot of people are familiar with the native hibiscus Red Texas Star. This is the white version, and it's actually even brighter in the landscape and attracts pollinators just as well. We've been adding a lot of great plants to our perennial garden here, and this is Silphium. This is a native plant, and there's quite a few species of this, but as you can see, it's really attractive to pollinators, and it comes back year after year. We're always looking for new garden phlox varieties that will survive the heat in Louisiana. I found this on a trip to Texas. This is called Fashionably Early. This color is white, and it's named Crystal. There's also one called Lavender Ice. We have a large collection of lantanas, and this year we seem to be doing a lot with reds and oranges. This is a very small lantana, great for containers or bed borders. It stays very compact, and it's called Gem Compact Orange Fire. Now, one that's been out on the market for a while is Lucky Red, but it's a great performer year after year. I would call it a compact to small because it does stay fairly short, but it spreads fairly wide. And again, it has this intense red, orange, and yellow color. Not a plant that you see used very often in commercial landscapes, but it makes a heck of a show, especially during the heat of summer when it thrives. This is Tithonia, or Mexican sunflower, and this is the bright orange, beautiful beacon in the garden that we have here for our butterflies in the pollinator garden. As with a lot of perennial plants in Louisiana and the Gulf South, survivability from year to year is a little bit questionable. This is especially true when you're talking about Monarda plants. Monardas are great because they're such wonderful pollinator attractors, but they don't always last year to year for us. However, this is an older selection called Peter's Purple, and although you're seeing it on the way out because it's getting hot now in the summer, it has been a massive attractor and it's just been a huge mound of these beautiful bright purple flowers. Here's a new addition to the Premium Sun series of Coleus from Ball. This one's called Coral Candy, and it does have kind of a coral pink along with 3 other colors on the leaves that are really attractive, but it is staying very small but surviving well in the sun so far. Native grasses are often overlooked in Louisiana as an excellent commercial landscape plant. This is a really large grass, at least 8 feet tall right now with these bloom spikes on it. This is eastern gamma grass. It likes wet feet, so it's wonderful for poorly drained areas. And in Baton Rouge, if you want to see it on a commercial scale, drive through the Mall of Louisiana parking lots. It's used there very effectively. Part of the trials that we do here are actually container trials, and these are for plants that the trialing companies recommend for container planting. We saw these earlier in the sun garden in ground, but these are this new Scaevola series from Doom and Orange. It's a beautiful mix, and it's called White Dove, Pink Bird, and Bluebird.
The Sweet Talk series is a new heat-loving Kufia from Pan American Seed. Jason already showed us this exact Kufia out in the landscape, but I wanted to highlight how well they're doing in these containers. This plant has a mounded habit that reaches a height of about 12 to 14 inches, and these beautiful tall bloom stalks are a natural source for pollinators such as hummingbirds that provide nectar, and ultimately giving gardeners a sense of excitement of having these pollinators in their garden, whether landscaped or in a container. Sweet Sunshine Blueberry Vein Petunia and Sunshine Pink and Red Vein Petunia is a new variety from Selecta 1. As you can see, ours were planted in containers and they're performing quite well. These plants are well branched, the blooms are vibrant, and this series called Sweet Sunshine offers a variety of unique colors in this very popular flower.
New for 2024 from Ball Horticultural's Selecta 1 division is this beautiful Pachoa hybrid called Inviva Blue. It has an incredibly deep dark purple color, and being a Calibrachoa and Petunia hybrid is still holding up really well to these high temperatures that we're experiencing in June. In 2024, Ball Flora Plant will be introducing this petunia called Frosted Sapphire. The Picotee white edge is really highlighting the deep purple of this particular petunia, and it's going to be a beautiful container plant. For 2024, we have another great petunia introduction from Ball Flora Plant. This one is Raspberry Cheesecake, and the name actually really evokes the flavors and the richness of a cheesecake. This looks like it's going to be a smaller petunia, so probably better for containers, but it's spilling over nicely and it's a great color combination. This is Lascar Orange Lava, and I think the name is so appropriate. This is going to be released by Ball Selecta 1. It's a smaller, more compact verbena, great for containers, and look at the intensity of this color even under all this heat. For a larger verbena selection, we have the new Superbena Pink Cashmere color from Proven Winners, and this will be available in 2024. It has a really nice light pink color, and you can see it's probably about twice the size and robustness of the Lascar verbenas from Ball. Geraniums were the name of the game this year from a lot of trialing companies. Now, geraniums typically struggle in the heat in Louisiana and the humidity. They're kind of more of a shorter spring crop, but so far here in mid to late June, they're still holding up pretty well. This is from Doom and Orange, and this is the Santana series. This is White Splash, which is a beautiful pink and white bicolor. For a lighter, brighter pink color that's a little bit taller, this is Santana Pink. Also for 2024 is Santana Purple. It looks more like a magenta or hot, fiery reddish pink to me, but it's still gorgeous. The plants grow a little bit smaller than the other two. From Doom and Orange this year, we received this gorgeous new series of Diplodenias called Florinia. The red velvet and dark red colors are pretty similar but very intense. Then there's a beautiful pink called Plus Pink Blush, and finally a really bright white called White Halo. Well, we're under another heat wave, so we decided to move to the shade garden and film some color here. For 2024, Proven Winners is going to introduce this particular Perennial, which is more of a spreading Perennial, and it's called Catalina Pink. We also do container trials in the shade, and these begonias, which have been trialed in both shade and sun, are definitely doing better in the shade, which is typical for a lot of begonias in Louisiana landscapes. This is from Ball, Pan American seed, and this is called Hula. It's a series of spreading begonias, and this is the red and white mixture. Now here's an example of a tuberous begonia. This is called Double Delight, and the color is apple blossom. Now it may look a little rough around the edges on the leaves, but the fact that it's still surviving here in mid to late June is pretty impressive. Most of these don't do well, even as a container plant in Louisiana, but apple blossom looks like it might have some staying power. Last year, we really enjoyed the new introduction of double impatiens called the Glimmer series from Ball, and this year they added a beautiful salmon color. This is the second year we've had the Solarscape impatiens from Ball in our trials. We've planted these actually in the shade garden, and we've noticed that they still bloom just as well and are actually more robust. They do okay in the sun, but it looks like they still do prefer some shade here in Louisiana. The colors we've planted this year are Salmon Glow, Orange Burst, White Glimmer, and a mix. For 2024, Pan American Seed has added another new color to their wonderful Beacon Impatiens line. This is called Lipstick, and it's a hot, fiery pink. Also for 2024, Pan American Seed has added a new mixture of Beacon Impatiens. This is called Pearl Island. The mixture is actually a little bit cooler colored combination than they've done in the past, and I think it looks really bright in the shade.
So that's going to wrap up our 2023 Hammond Research Station Virtual Field Day. We really appreciate you taking the time to come and visit us virtually and see all about the gardens, the trials, our research, and everything that's going on here. And we hope you can come and actually visit us in person sometime to check out the gardens and all of our fantastic research. For everyone at the station, thank you so much and have a great day.